Young and the Restless spoilers reveal Diane Jenkins and Phyllis Summers' tensions. A relationship full of crisis and secrets. The relationship between Diane Jenkins and Phyllis Summers has never been short of drama, and this time, the tension between the two women once again explodes in a dramatic encounter. The plot unfolds when Diane decides to approach Phyllis at a time when she is extremely confused and panicked. The story is not only a confrontation between two powerful characters but also an exposure of deep pain and unrevealed truths. Diane Jenkins triggers Phyllis's panic attack. The opening scene takes place at Phyllis's desk, where she is sitting alone, her eyes looking somewhat lost and tense. Diane, with her tact and challenging personality, approaches Phyllis and begins the story with fake commiserations. She expressed sympathy for Phyllis over the chaotic kidnapping she had just experienced. However, Phyllis was not easily fooled and refused to believe that Diane truly cared about her. The deep hatred between them had lasted for a long time, and Phyllis was unwilling to accept Diane's pretense. "Do you really care about me, Diane?" Phyllis raised her head, her tone filled with doubt. "Or are you just trying to take advantage of me again?" The confrontation between the two immediately escalated into a heated argument. Phyllis, in anger, criticized Diane for her previous actions, while Diane retorted with sarcastic words. The atmosphere around them became heavy, and those around them could sense the antagonism that was taking place. After a while, Phyllis realized that she had been too hot-tempered. "Sorry," she said, lowering her voice and bowing her head. "I shouldn't have been like that." She sighed, feeling as if everything was building up inside her. Diane, sensing that Phyllis had calmed down, continued with a challenging statement. "Your experiment was interesting, Phyllis." She smiled slyly. "It feels like you're being a guinea pig in a lab, doesn't it?" Phyllis was instantly agitated, anger flaring up inside her. Diane had clearly touched a wound too deep for Phyllis. The feeling of being a woman trapped, unable to control her own life, and now being dragged into her own experiment by Diane. "Do you know what you're saying?" Phyllis growled, but then she began to take deep breaths and tried to calm her rage. She regained her composure, but she couldn't hide her pain. "That's what it felt like to be trapped, Diane," she said with emotion in her voice, her eyes glistening as if she were about to cry. "It's an indelible memory." Diane realized that she had gone too far and immediately apologized. "I didn't mean to upset you, Phyllis. I'm really sorry." But Phyllis, though seemingly calm, could no longer bear Diane's presence. "Go away," Phyllis said firmly. "I need some peace and quiet. It's all too much for me right now." Diane, sensing that the tension was getting the better of her, left. However, she left a note asking Billy Abbott to help Phyllis as she clearly needed support. Billy Abbott takes Phyllis to the park. As Diane left, Billy Abbott ran into Diane at the door. She quickly informed her that Phyllis was in trouble and needed help. Billy, despite his own problems, could not ignore Phyllis's condition. He decided to go to her desk to find out what was going on. As Billy approached, he immediately noticed that Phyllis was showing signs of panic. She was no longer her usual strong and sharp self. The tension in Phyllis's eyes made Billy feel unable to stand still. "Phyllis, are you okay?" Billy asked, his voice soft but filled with concern. Phyllis, in a panic, just shook her head and began to feel short of breath. "We need to go outside for a bit, get some fresh air," Billy suggested. Phyllis didn't object and followed him outside. Feeling as if everything around her was spinning, Phyllis and Billy discussed Abbott communications. While walking through the park, Billy began to change the subject, trying to distract Phyllis. He began to share with her his recent discussions about Abbott communications, a subject they had shared in the past. "Actually, I've been in touch with Aristotle Dumas," Billy admitted. Phyllis turned to him, her eyes wide with surprise. "Aristotle Dumas? What are you doing?" Billy went on to explain that Aristotle held the key to the strategy to win back the Chancellor, and that he had discussed with Aristotle keeping his hands clean while leaving him to deal with the mess Victor Newman was making. "I just need to keep my hands clean, and Aristotle will sort things out with Victor," Billy said, sounding confident. The scene ends with Phyllis still not able to calm down, and her relationship with Billy once again enters a tense phase. However, one thing is clear. Even though Phyllis is facing panic attacks and fears, she still has to face the secrets and intrigues behind Billy's strategy. Will she be able to accept Billy's confessions and continue their relationship? The answer remains open. These episodes are just the beginning of a fierce confrontation between these characters, with secrets left unsaid and plans left unfulfilled. Life for Phyllis and those around her will never be as simple as before, and every decision they make will create unpredictable twists and turns. In a tense series of events on The Young and the Restless, Tracy Abbott begins to sense that a shocking secret is hiding behind the perfect facade of Alan Laurent, the man she believes is her future husband. However, strange warnings and suspicious details keep Tracy on edge. And a tense encounter with Sharon Newman is the turning point that opens up doubts that cannot be ignored. This is a story of psychological struggle, confusion, and confrontation with secrets that could change everything. The meeting with Sharon Newman. The first clue. The story begins when Tracy decides to share with Jack the discussion she had with Sharon Newman. During that meeting, Sharon tells Tracy her concerns about Alan and what she feels is related to the strange alerts that appear on his phone. These mysterious messages have Tracy worried and feeling that something is wrong. While Jack is still puzzled, Tracy insists that there must be an explanation for these clues. Tracy is troubled by the strange events of recent times. She begins to recall puzzling details, such as Alan constantly receiving security alerts from the clinic, along with strange messages. This is especially noticeable when Sharon and Phyllis are undergoing terrible psychological experiments at Havenhurst. She realizes that these alerts may be related to some mystery that she has yet to unravel. The clues connect. Another important detail that Tracy remembers is the recent event when Alan suddenly proposed to her and then immediately wanted to leave the country in a hurry. Tracy feels that these actions are not coincidental, but may be part of a larger plan that she cannot yet see. She begins to piece together the puzzle and concludes that Alan may not be who she thinks he is. She begins to suspect that Alan may actually be Martin, the twin brother Tracy believed to have died after falling from a balcony. Could he have been impersonating Alan all this time to carry out a plot? The connections between these clues seem so obvious to Tracy that she can't ignore them. Her sense of unease grows as strange events continue to unfold. The security alerts from the clinic, Alan's sudden desire to leave the country, and the change in his behavior all seem to point to a dark secret being hidden. The confrontation with Jack. Is Tracy right? When Tracy shares these concerns with Jack, his initial reaction is not optimistic. Jack is skeptical and can't believe what Tracy is suspecting. He can't imagine that Martin, the twin brother they thought was dead, could be alive and lying to everyone all these years. However, Tracy doesn't give up easily. She continues to provide convincing arguments about the strange things she sees in Alan's actions, and slowly, Jack begins to reconsider. Although Jack still can't fully believe Tracy's theory, he decides to find out more about the truth. Tracy worries that if she's right, everything will change forever, not only for Alan but also for her relationship with him. While Jack is adamant that they need to tell Chance so that they can investigate thoroughly, he also insists that Tracy can't go to France with Alan until they find out for sure. Jack worries that if Tracy continues to confront Alan, she will fall into a trap from which she cannot escape. Tracy feels that she is in a very difficult situation. She loves Alan and doesn't want to lose him, but if she is right about her suspicions, she may lose the person she loves forever. She realizes that revealing the truth may cause Alan to never forgive her, and this scares her deeply. Tracy is at a painful crossroads. If she is wrong, she will lose the man she loves. But if she is right, she may help save him from a terrible plot. Angst and fear grip Tracy as she faces a difficult decision. She knows that whether she is right or wrong, she will never be able to go back to the way things were. The feeling of loss, even if it is just a possibility, sends Tracy into a deep psychological state. But with Jack's support, she knows that she is not alone in this struggle. A comforting hug and a crucial decision. Finally, when Tracy felt like everything was falling apart, Jack came to her side. He realized that she couldn't do this alone, and while he didn't fully believe Tracy's theories, he stood by her side, ready to support her. Jack realized that Tracy's relationship with Alan might not be salvageable if her doubts were true, but he couldn't let Tracy face her fears alone. In a touching moment, Jack hugged Tracy and comforted her. "I don't think you're wrong," Jack said, with a certainty that Tracy didn't expect. "Whether you're right or wrong, I'll always be there for you." This soothed some of Tracy's worries, and she felt the comfort of her brother standing by her side. Unanswered questions. While Tracy feels somewhat relieved with Jack's support, She can't shake the feeling of anxiety about what lies ahead. She doesn't know if she's right, but one thing is certain. She can't stay silent and let these secrets continue to threaten her loved ones. With renewed determination, Tracy and Jack begin to prepare for the next step in their investigation. While Tracy and Alan's relationship continues to become a complex and unpredictable story, a secret is coming out. This story is a testament to the twists and turns in family relationships, the painful decisions that each character on The Young and the Restless faces. Tracy Abbott, a woman who has always lived with care and love, is now faced with a big secret that could change her life. Can she decipher the clues that are gradually coming out and make the right decision? The answer will be revealed in the next episodes of The Young and the Restless. Subscribe to YNR to get the latest news on our channel. Diane and Alan clash, dark plans and threats beneath the surface. On The Young and the Restless, the relationship between Diane Jenkins and Alan Loran has been attracting the attention of the audience as the conflicts between them gradually escalate, leading to dramatic dark plans. While everyone around them does not pay much attention, Phyllis Summers is the first to recognize the unusual signs and begins to investigate the dark conspiracies that could threaten her life. Are Diane and Alan planning to harm Phyllis? The surprising details will be revealed, changing the whole situation. A mysterious relationship. Diane and Alan. Since Alan Loran entered Diane's life, the strange signs of his actions have gradually been recognized by the audience. A man who has suffered great loss with a mysterious past and unclear goals. Alan creates a perfect cover that even Diane cannot see through. He quickly becomes an indispensable part of Diane's life, someone she trusts completely. However, as their relationship gradually deepens into dark secrets, Diane begins to sense that something is not right. Alan's cold eyes, strange actions and secret meetings with underworld figures make Diane suspicious. Is Alan a trustworthy companion, or is he just playing an important role in a dark plan that has not yet been revealed? Phyllis sees threats. The first warning. While Diane is still absorbed in her mysterious relationship, Phyllis, with her sharp instincts and inherent vigilance, begins to notice the signs that are not right. Diane's change in behavior, the strange discussions between Diane and Alan, and the vague conspiracies gradually lead Phyllis to suspect that there is a hidden threat targeting her. Phyllis, always an intelligent and cautious person, cannot ignore these signals, and she decides to investigate on her own. She begins to search for information about Alan, the relationships he has had, and past events that may be related to the plan that Diane and Alan are carrying out. Phyllis quickly realizes that she is facing a wolf in sheep's clothing, and she feels that Alan is not the simple person that Diane thinks. Phyllis continues to expand her investigation and discovers that Diane and Alan may be plotting a plan to harm her. Their relationship is not a pure love but a calculating one, built on dark intentions and deception. The dark plan. Are Diane and Alan really out to harm Phyllis? As Phyllis digs deeper into her investigation, she uncovers shocking information. It appears that Diane and Alan are working together in an elaborate plot that not only targets her, but could also destroy her career and reputation. The strange threats Phyllis receives from unknown sources seem to be just the tip of the iceberg. Diane and Alan's plan is more than just a personal vendetta. They seem to be planning to use Phyllis as a pawn in a larger game. Early signs suggest that they are trying to manipulate Phyllis, pushing her into dangerous situations that she has no control over. And the scary thing is, Diane, whom Phyllis once considered a friend, may be behind it all. During the tense confrontations, Phyllis discovers that she is not the only target. A series of plans that could completely change the lives of many others, and Phyllis cannot let this continue. She must confront Diane and Alan, find out the truth and stop their plans before it is too late. Rising tension. Confronting Diane and Alan. Phyllis decides not to let these threats haunt her any longer. She finds a way to confront Diane directly, confronting her about her suspicions and the truth she has discovered. During a tense meeting at the dinner table, Phyllis confronts Diane directly about what she knows, demanding that she come clean about Diane's relationship with Alan. "We used to be friends, Diane," Phyllis says, her tone cold but firm. "But what you're doing, I can't forgive you. Alan isn't who you think he is. He's just using you." Diane, with a smug look on her face, replied, "You don't understand, Phyllis. Alan and I have bigger goals than you think. Don't interfere." This confrontation is not only a battle between two women, but also a battle between undisclosed secrets and dark plots that are gradually moving closer to an unpredictable outcome. Phyllis realizes that she can no longer trust anyone, not even those she once considered friends. With these new revelations, Phyllis decides to act quickly. She cannot let Diane and Alan continue with their plans. Meanwhile, Diane and Alan, knowing that Phyllis is after them, continue to plot, hoping that Phyllis will never learn the truth. The battle of wits is getting more intense and dramatic than ever. What has been built over the years is now facing unforeseen consequences. Can Phyllis stop Diane and Alan before it's too late? Can Diane continue to hold on to the secrets she's been keeping? And most importantly, can Diane and Phyllis's friendship be saved before it's too late? These questions will be answered in the upcoming episodes of The Young and the Restless as dark secrets, conspiracies, and dark plans are gradually revealed.